The Amazing Race. Example solution created in Explain Everything.
Dear student, we are pleased to inform you that you have been hired by our production company to assist in planning the itinerary for the next Amazing Race. The contestants will be departing from and returning to Ottawa, Canada. Your job is to choose at least 5 cities as destinations for our contestants to visit, keeping in mind the limitations provided by the travel agency. You have been given a $10,000 budget for each participant. This amount must cover the cost of the flights and the cost of meals in the different countries for that participant. You will also be given a document of important information that you must read carefully. It includes a map of possible destinations for the race, travel guidelines, and restrictions you have to follow. On behalf of the Amazing Race team, welcome aboard. Marcus Brunette, Executive Producer. Guidelines for completing the Amazing Race itinerary and determining the cost of the trip. The cities shown on the map provided are the ones you can choose as destinations for the Amazing Race participants. They will spend 1 day at each destination. Sleeping accommodations will be organized by the host country at no charge to the participants. Use the scale on the map to determine the distances between the cities you have selected as destinations for the race. Round your measurements to the nearest whole centimeter or half centimeter. The table titled Average Cost of Meals Per Day lists the average cost of meals per day, per person, for each city on the map. Use this information to help you determine the cost of meals for the itinerary you have chosen. Fill in the table titled Itinerary and calculations with the names of the destination cities, the number of kilometers traveled, the meal cost, and the cost of the flights. Draw your final itinerary route on the map and number the destinations you have selected in the order they will be visited. Limitations for completing the Amazing Race itinerary and determining the cost of the trip. The round trip from Ottawa, Canada must cover more than 35,000 kilometers, but less than 50,000 kilometers. The pilot cannot fly for more than 8 consecutive hours at a time. The plane travels 965 kilometers per hour. All flights are direct. Your budget for the trip is $10,000. Flights within the same continent cost 11 cents per kilometer. Flight between continents costs 28 cents per kilometer. So now we must make our plan of attack. The red popples are the important information and the things we must solve before we continue with the rest of the problem. The green popples are the calculations that will need to be done during the problem. And the blue popples are the important information. So what we must solve first is the scale. The scale on the bottom of the map shows that 2 centimeters equals 3,000 kilometers. So what would happen if we measured 1 centimeter? Well, 2 centimeters divided by 2 equals 1 centimeter. So let's do the same to the 3,000 kilometers. So 3,000 kilometers divided by 2 equals 1,500 kilometers. So 1 centimeter equals 1,500 kilometers. Now we can return to our plan of attack. We can check off the scale because we found our answer. Our next job is to find out how many kilometers the pilot can fly before it gets tired. How far can the pilot fly? So the pilot can fly 8 hours, and the plane flies 965 kilometers per hour. So how many kilometers can he do before he gets too tired? So 965 multiplied by 8 hours equals 7,720 kilometers. The pilot can fly up to 7,720 kilometers. So how many centimeters is that? Well, 1,500 kilometers equals 1 centimeter on the map. If we take that number and put it all the way to 5 centimeters, it'll be 7,500 kilometers. So the furthest the pilot can fly is 5 centimeters on the map. So now we can check off the next red popple. Now we're going to move on to begin our amazing race. So our first destination is going to be Dallas. We measured that on our map and we have the distance between Ottawa and Dallas is 2.5 centimeters. Now we have to gather our information about Dallas. So the average cost of meals per day in Dallas is $60. So now we can begin our calculations for the flights. So 1,500 kilometers equals 1 centimeter. So we're going to multiply our 1,500 kilometers by 2.5 centimeters, which is the distance between Ottawa and Dallas. That gives us 3,750 kilometers. So now we're going to have to figure out how much it will cost. So 3,750 kilometers multiplied by 11 cents, because Ottawa and Dallas are within the same continent and it's 11 cents per kilometer, gives you $412.50. So the flight cost from Ottawa to Dallas is $412.50. Now we can put the information found into our table for cost of flight. To find out the total cost of your trip to Dallas, you're going to have to take the cost of the flight, $412.50, and add it to the cost of meals for the day, $60, which will give you $472.50 to pay for your trip to Dallas. Our next destination will be Merida. Here are the calculations for the cost of the flight from Dallas to Merida. I can now put it in my table for cost of flight. And finally, I add it to my final itinerary. Our next destination is Caracas. Here are my calculations for the cost of the flight from Merida to Caracas. I now put all the information collected into the table for cost of flight, and then put everything into the final itinerary. Our next destination is Rio de Janeiro. Here are the calculations for the cost of flight from Caracas to Rio. I then add all the information collected into the table for cost of flight, and finalize my information into the final itinerary. Our next stop is Douala. Here are the calculations for the cost of flight of Rio to Douala. I now put all my information into the table for cost of flight, and then put my information into the final itinerary to get the total cost. Our next stop is Rome. Here are the calculations performed for the cost of flight of Douala to Rome. I again put all the information into the table for cost of flight, and then finalize my information in the final itinerary. Next, we go to Uppsala. Here are the calculations for the cost of flight of Rome to Uppsala. Now I can put the information into the table for cost of flight, and then figure out the total cost of the destination in the final itinerary. Our next stop is Dublin. Here are the calculations for Uppsala to Dublin. I now put it into my table for cost of flight, and then find the total cost per destination in the final itinerary. And our last stop is Ottawa. Here are the calculations for Dublin to Ottawa. I now put all my information into the table for cost of flight. I can now figure out the total distance traveled in kilometers. That is 39,000 kilometers. Our maximum was 50,000 kilometers, and our minimum was 30,000 kilometers. So we are right in the middle. And to find out the total cost of flights, it is $8,242.50, which is less than $10,000. But we don't know yet. We have to add all of the food. So to find that information, we go on to our final itinerary, and we get all the totals per destination. We have to add those up and get our total cost of the trip, which is $8,833.60, which is less than the $10,000 budget. Thank you for joining me on organizing the next amazing race.